जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रज जनरंजना। जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रज जनरंजना। जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यमुना तिरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यमुना तिरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव माई की जय। नरसिम्हा भगवान की जय। पंच तत्व की जय। षड गोस्वामी की जय। गुरु परंपरा की जय। शिर प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। तागौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं उदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके bhaktir नैष्टिकी. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So, Hare Krishna, will you just hold on and just share the screen for today's. So, this is from 4th canto, 2nd chapter, the 2 verses which has been given to me for discussion are 32 and 33. So, let us recite 4 to 32. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham Satam Vartma Sanatanam Vigarhyayata Pashandam Daivam Vo Yatra Bhutarat. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham Satam Vartma Sanatanam Vigarhya Yata Pashandam Daivam Vo Yatra Bhutarat. Anybody wants to recite? One Prabhu and one Mataji.
May I, Prabhu?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham Satam Vatma Sanatanam Vigarhya Yata Pashandam Daivam Vo Yatra Bhutarat. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna. Any Prabhu? Any Prabhus to recite?
May I?
Yes, Bharat.
Tad Brahma Paramam Suddham Satam Vartma Sanatanam Vigarhya Yata Pashandam Daivam Vo Yatra Bhutarat.
Synonyms word to word meaning. Tat, that. Brahma, Veda. Paramam, supreme. Shuddham, pure. Satam, of the saintly persons. Vartma, path. Sanatanam, eternal. Vigarhya, blaspheming. Yata, should go. Pashandam, to atheism. Daivam, deity. Vaha, your. Yatra, where. Bhutarat, the lord of the Bhutas. Translation and purport by Divine Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation purport. By blaspheming the principles of the Vedas, which are the pure and supreme path of the saintly persons, certainly you followers of Bhutapati, Lord Shiva, will descend to the standard of atheism without a doubt. Purport. Lord Shiva is described here as Bhutarat. You see the word-to-word meaning, Bhutarat, Lord of the Bhutas. The ghosts and those who are situated in the material mode of ignorance are called Bhutas. So Bhutarat refers to the leader of the creatures who are the lowest standard of the material modes of nature. Another meaning of Bhuta is anyone who has taken birth or anything which is produced. So in that sense, Lord Shiva may be accepted as the father of this material world. Here, of course, Bhrigu takes Lord Shiva as the leader of the lowest creatures. The characteristics of the lowest class of men have already been described. They do not bathe, they have long hair on their heads, and they are addicted to intoxicants. In comparison with the path followed by the followers of Bhutarat, the Vedic system is certainly excellent, for it promotes people in spiritual life as the highest eternal principle of human civilization. If one decries or blasphemes Vedic principles, then he falls to the standard of atheism. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go to 33rd verse. Maitreya vacha tasyevam vadata shapam brughosa bhagavan bhavah nishchakrama tata kinchet vimanayava sanugah. Maitreya vacha tasyevam vadata shapam brughosa bhagavan bhavah nishchakrama tata kinchet vimana eva sanugah. So two people, two devotees can decide. Prabhu Samataris.
May I recite, Prabhu?
Yes, madam.
Maitreya uvacha tasyaivam vadata shapam bhrigo sa bhagavan bhavaha nishchakrama tatah kinchet vimana iva sagaha.
Yes.
Hare
One
Krishna.
more. One, anybody else?
Maitreya
Your internet, I think maybe not. We are not able to hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, clear.
Maitreya uvacha Taisyaivam vadata shapam Bhugosa bhagavan bhavaha Nishchakrama tata kinched Vimana iva saganaha.
It is not Vimana, it is Vimana. Vimana
Vimana.
Iva San. Yes, madam. Okay. Thank you, Madam Krishna. So word to word meaning, synonyms. Maitreya Vacha, Maitreya said, tasya of him, evam thus, vadataha being spoken, shapam curse, Bhrigoho of Bhrigu, Saha he, Bhagavan the possessor of all opulences, Bhavaha Lord Shiva, Nishchakrama went, Tataha from there, Kinchit somewhat, Vimanaha morose, Iva as, Sa Anugaha followed by his disciples. Translation and purport by Jivan Shilpad Ki Jai. Please hear. The sage Maitreya said, when such cursing and counter cursing was going on between Lord Shiva's followers and the parties of Daksha and Bhrigu, Lord Shiva became morose, became very morose. Not saying anything, he left the arena of the sacrifice, followed by his disciples. Purport. Here, Lord Shiva's excellent character is described. In spite of the cursing and counter cursing between the parties of Daksha and Shiva, because he is the greatest Vaishnava, he was so sober that he did not say anything. A Vaishnava is always tolerant, and Lord Shiva is considered the topmost Vaishnava. So his character, as shown in this scene, is excellent. He became morose because he knew that these people, both his men and Dakshas, were unnecessarily cursing and counter cursing one another without any interest in spiritual life. From his point of view, he did not see anyone as lower or higher because he is a Vaishnava. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.18, Panditaha Samadarshanaha. One who is perfectly learned does not see anyone as lesser or greater because he sees everyone from the spiritual platform. Thus, the only alternative left to Lord Shiva was to leave in order to stop his follower, Nandishwara, as well as Bhrigu from cursing and counter cursing in that way. Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnantamrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmetam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapata Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yanta Pravish Mamachi Mam Prasuptam Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Dharastu Dhamna Anyam Chahasta Charana Shavanato Gadin Prana Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tuvyam Mukam Karoti Vacharam Bangam Lamyati Girim Vikripat Mamade Pramam Maham Namo Vishnu Krishna Krishna Maharashtra Swami Sanagani Namo Vishnu Krishna Krishna Bhaktivedanta Swami Nirvisheshunya Vachana Shandya Sri Krishna Hari Nityananda Sri Advaita Swami. So Hare Krishna, Prabhu Swami, welcome all of you. Thank you for joining and keeping the appointment today. Today is 12th of June 2024 for this wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam. See, this chapter is entitled Daksha Curses Lord Shiva. See, the 33rd verse which we read now, wherein it is said, Prabhupada says in the purport, in comparison with the path followed by the followers of Bhutarat, the Vedic system is certainly excellent. But comparing that, whatever Bhutarat, that is the followers who are cursing and counter cursing that arena, right? That is the wrong path. Whereas the Vedic system is certainly excellent because it promotes people to spiritual life as the highest eternal principle of human civilization. So if one decries or blasphemes the Vedic principles, then he falls to the standard of atheism. He becomes an atheist. That's what Rupa says. So actually, with regards to Vedas, in the previous verse, the 31st verse, the purport Prabhupada mentions, the Vedas describe how to divide the human race into 4 divisions according to quality and working capacity. So it speaks about Varna and Ashrama, right? Like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And this system is Sanatana. It is coming from time immemorial, and it will continue. So this Sanatana Dharma is eternal. So one can elevate himself to the highest standard of spiritual life by following the Vedic principles. See, Prabhupada says, it is stated that formerly the sages followed this system, this system, Sanatana. Therefore, to follow the Vedic system is to follow the standard etiquette of society. But what happened? The followers of Lord Shiva, here we see, they are addicted to so many wrong things. Like Prabhupada mentions, who do not bathe, who smoke. So these are against human etiquette. So the conclusion Prabhupada says that the persons who rebel against the Vedic principles are themselves the evidence of the Vedas. The Vedas are authoritative because by not following the Vedic principles, they become like animals. So such animalistic persons are themselves evidence of the supremacy of the Vedic regulations. So Vedic regulations very, very important. And now in this current verse, we saw that wonderful qualities of Lord Shiva, wherein Prabhupada mentions, when such cursing and counter-cursing was going on between Lord Shiva's followers and the parties of Daksha and Bhrigu, Lord Shiva became very morose. What did he do? He did not curse or counter. He did not say anything. He left the arena of the sacrifice along with his disciples. See the wonderful Vaishnava qualities of Lord Shiva, right? See, from this pastime of Daksha Yajna, which is now being discussed in the 4th canto, right? 2nd chapter, we can understand the exalted characteristics exhibited by Lord Shiva. See, this is a very instructive pastime. And a person like a sadhaka, he can learn many lessons from it. That's why in Bhagavatam we have to extract what is in it for me so that I can follow in my day-to-day life. So in this pastime, we see that Daksha, the father-in-law of Lord Shiva, he feels offended because he saw his son-in-law, Lord Shiva, was not showing him due respect during a great sacrifice. Because when Daksha came into the arena, everybody stood up, except, of course, Lord Shiva, Brahma, his father. But Lord Shiva also did not. So he was offended by that. So Daksha became very angry, greatly angry. And he spoke very strongly against Lord Shiva. So hearing this, Nandishwara, who is one of the principal associates of Lord Shiva, right, became angry and started cursing Daksha. There are 4 points we can understand from this episode of the quality of Lord Shiva. Number 1 is tolerance. See, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions in Nectar of Devotion that a Vaishnava should not give unnecessary trouble to anyone. So this is the principle of Krishna consciousness, that every Vaishnava should aspire to achieve this, not give unnecessary trouble to anyone. So when Lord Shiva heard the cursing and the counter cursing, which was happening between Daksha and Nandishwara, he immediately left the place. As we saw in the 33rd, right? So Prabhupada says in the purport, here Lord Shiva's excellent character is described. In spite of the cursing and the counter cursing between the parties of Daksha and Shiva, because he is the greatest Vaishnava, he was so sober that he did not say anything. A Vaishnava is always tolerant. And Lord Shiva is considered the topmost Vaishnava. Vaishnava nam yata Shambhu. So his character, as shown in this scene, is excellent. He became morose because he knew that these people, right, both these men and Daksha, were unnecessary cursing and counter cursing one another without any interest in spiritual life. Because when there is counter cursing, then there is no Krishna in this center, right? So from his point of view, he did not see anyone as lower or higher because he is a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava, he never brings disturbance to anybody. So this is very important Vaishnava quality. Even when criticized by others, please understand, even when criticized by others, Vaishnava does not react. He takes it as Krishna's arrangement and acts in such a way that the tensed situation is diffused. So Lord Shiva is an embodiment of tolerance and compassion. And thus he left the scene, left the place immediately, so that the people involved in cursing, counter cursing, will stop this action. The second one is compassion. First one was tolerance, compassion. See, Parvati Mata, the wife of Lord Shiva, expressed her desire to go for the ceremony of the sacrifice performed by her father Daksha, right? But Lord Shiva, knowing well that she will be ill-treated if she goes to her father's house, he stopped her from going. But Parvati, due to her family affection, right, she decided to go alone in spite of Lord Shiva's warning. So even though Lord Shiva was displeased, he still sent his followers to console and protect her. So this shows the compassion quality of Lord Shiva. So this is a very important quality of a Vaishnava. See, no matter how the other person hurts him, he will still try to help that person. What a point, right? No matter how the other person hurts him, insulting, cursing, shouting, he will still try to help that person. That is compassion. Compassion hoga. Hindi mein compassion. Right? This third C, the third point, she was devoid of fault-finding mentality. See, Mother Parvati was not welcomed. She was not welcomed appropriately by her father Daksha when she entered the sacrificial arena. Daksha, he did not even talk to her or inquire about the welfare. So this greatly angered Parvati, and she started speaking very strong words against her own father. That's why Bhagavatam 4:12. Mother Parvati glorifies the great quality of Lord Shiva. Twice born Daksha, she says, twice born Daksha, a man like you can simply find fault in the qualities of others. She's telling her father, twice born Daksha. She says, Lord Shiva, however, not only finds no faults with others' qualities, but if someone has a little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. Unfortunately, you have found fault with such a great soul. See, one of the main reasons behind the fault-finding mentality is envy. The nature of envy is that it penetrates deep into the heart of the conditioned souls. And then it strongly plants the seed of fault-finding mentality. So the root cause of this envy and competition is the conditioned soul's original envy towards Krishna himself. So that position of envy is absent in the heart of a Vaishnava, who is always engaged in the loving service of the Supreme Lord. So Lord Shiva is constantly engaged in meditation of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. He's not envious, and therefore devoid of the fault-finding mentality. Another important quality of Lord Shiva is that he is not only devoid from fault-finding, but this is another wonderful quality. He magnifies even a little good quality that he sees in others. This is the point we should understand. Don't find any fault with anybody, but if he has a good quality, then magnify it. So in this context, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, for example, once the devotee of Lord Shiva wanted the benediction that whenever he touched someone on the head, that person's head would at once be separated from his tongue. So Lord Shiva agreed and gave the protection. So although the benediction asked was not very commendable, because the devotee wanted to kill his enemy, Lord Shiva considered the devotee's good quality in worshipping and satisfying him and granted the benediction. This is what he does. He's Ashutosh. Immediately he forgives. So Lord Shiva accepted his bad qualities as magnificently good qualities. Of course, you know the pastime later on. The fourth point is first is tolerance, compassion. Third one is not finding, devoid of fault finding mentality. And fourth one is not tolerating the offenses against the devotees. See, Mother Parvati, after accusing her father Daksha for insulting her as well as her husband Lord Shiva, she prepared to give up her life because she considered her body, which is received from Daksha, to be unworthy because he blasphemed Lord Shiva. So she then quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation. So when Lord Shiva heard this news, he was very much enraged. He was enraged. He also understood that Bhrigu Muni had created the Ribhudeva demigods by uttering the mantras of the Yajurveda, and that these demigods had driven away all of his soldiers who were present in the arena of sacrifice. So therefore, Lord Shiva wanted to reply to this insult. And so he decided to kill Daksha because he was the cause of the death of Sati. See, Lord Shiva, please understand the point. Lord Shiva was personally insulted strongly by Daksha, right? Initially. But he never lost his cool. He was tolerant. He tolerated those insults and did not even counterattack. He left the scene. But when another devotee, Parvati, left her body due to the harsh treatment given to her by Daksha, he destroyed the entire sacrifice as well as Daksha and his supporters. So this is another quality of a Vaishnava. He can tolerate all insults upon himself, but not when Krishna and his devotees are offended. So these are a few wonderful qualities that we can learn from Lord Shiva out of the unlimited transcendental qualities the Lord Shiva possesses. So it is important for a devotee to introspect of his or her qualities and try to give up the bad qualities and cultivate the Vaishnava qualities as exhibited by Lord Shiva and other exalted devotees of the Lord. See, time and again, what are the effects of anger? We can see the detrimental effects of anger. We are always told being angry is not good. So the detrimental effects of anger are hammered on us from the pages of Bhagavatam. So many episodes we can see, wherein exalted personalities also, no, under false prestige, they commit terrific Vaishnava aparadha. So one such instance is of this great personality Daksha actually, who out of anger cursed Lord Shiva. And he left the arena of sacrifice where Lord Brahma, along with all the sages, they were also assembled there. Prabhupada writes in fact, in the 19th verse of this chapter, Prabhupada writes very nicely mentions how we become prone to anger easily. 4 to 19 in this current chapter, Prabhupada writes in the purport, how we become prone to anger very easily. He says, even when all of them requested him not to leave, that is to Daksha, but infuriated, he left, thinking that the auspicious place was not fit for him. So, puffed up by his exalted position, Daksha thought that no one was greater than he in argument. It appears that all the members of the assembly, including Lord Brahma, requested him not to be angry and not to leave their company. But in spite of all these requests, he left. That is the effect of cruel anger. See, in Bhagavad Gita, it is advised that one who desires to make tangible advancement in spiritual consciousness must avoid these three things: lust, anger, and mode of passion. Actually, we can see that lust, anger, passion make a man crazy, even though he be as great as Daksha. See, the very name Daksha suggests that he was expert in all material activities. But still, because of his aversion towards such a saintly personality like Lord Shiva, he was attacked by these three enemies: lust, anger, passion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised that one be very careful not to offend the Vaishnavas. And he compared offenses towards the Vaishnava to a mad elephant. See, as a mad elephant can do anything horrible. So even when a person offends a Vaishnava, he can perform any abominable action. The greatness of a person is estimated by his ability to tolerate the most provoking situations. What's the point? Greatness of a person is estimated by his ability to tolerate the most provoking situations. Even somebody provokes, insults, shouts. So many situations come in our life, day-to-day life also. So when you are able to tolerate, that is greatness. See, as human beings, as humans, we are conditioned to think in a certain way. And when that is at stake, we feel jeopardized. See, our intelligence is lost, finally degrading our activities like insulting, blaspheming others. So rather than regretting our angered acts later, it is better to leave behind our egos and control our anger. At the onset, before anger comes, at that point only we should stop it, rather than repenting it later on. Daksha was a devotee, a Prajapati. He had seen Lord Vishnu. But however, in a rage, when a rage comes, right? We see in road rage also, cars, traffic, so many just shout in anger. In a rage to get respect from Lord Shiva and totally consumed in anger, he insulted Lord Shiva. So, as aspiring to be a devotee, we have to be careful. Otherwise, anger can lead to offenses which will stunt our spiritual advancement. See, as the wise men say, anger is the only acid which consumes its own container. Anger is only acid which consumes its own container. My Guru Maharaj says, Death will approach us anytime. It is better in such an unpredictable life, we peacefully and lovingly forgive and forget. Remain with each other at all times, good or bad. We should pray to Guru Prabhupada Shri Krishna to make us refrain from committing any Vaishnava aparadha in bout of anger. It's a very important point, right? See, so it is very humble. How important it is, no, not to react to all situations, but to be just silent and leave the scene, as just Lord Shiva did. So Lord Shiva did not mind being cursed, but mercifully felt morose for the living entities wasting time in cursing and counter cursing without taking any interest in the spiritual life. He was satisfied even if he was deprived of oblations in the sacrifice. And he exhibited great sense control, no, by silently leaving the sacrificial arena. Can we do that? If somebody is cursing and you cannot leave that. We want to react. We want to show I am better than you. We see again that Prithu Maharaj in this episode also just stopped with the 99 horse sacrifices after he was requested by Lord Brahma, who saw this was the increasing envy of Lord Indra. So the 100th sacrifice was well left, right? He did not. The century was well missed. My Guru Maharaj in one of the classes, he said, in a quarrel, the person who is the loudest gains the upper hand, right? Whereas the loudest sound is actually silence. If ever there is any quarrel, learn to be silent and remember Krishna. Learn to be silent and remember Krishna. Otherwise, if you're silent and again think of how to take revenge, then again it's a bad, difficult situation. So we are so much used to hearing well done. But we will do well to hear well left from others. Just like in cricket, no, well left. So we should not fail miserably during stressing situations. We should seek forgiveness from Guru, Srila, and Prabhupada and Krishna and seek their blessings to help us to realize that well left is the right response to in many provoking situations. See, when we are blinded by the anger, we fail to realize what is good, what is bad, and then our speech and actions, they all go wrong. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very nicely says in Bhagavad Gita 2.63, Krodad bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory arises. So when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again to the material pool. So Daksha, forgetting the goal of the sacrifice, he left the arena even though Lord Brahma and others requested him not to leave. And later followers of Shiva cursed Daksha and the assembled Brahmanas. So in turn provoked Brahmanas to curse the followers of Lord Shiva, counter cursing and cursing. So seeing these people forgetting the spiritual values of life, wasting their time in cursing and counter cursing, Lord Shiva, what did he do? With great compassion, he left this arena so that there would not be any disturbance in the sacrificial arena because of his followers. That's why in the 34th verse, the next verse that will be taken tomorrow, Maitri Muni, while explaining his pastime to Vidura, he says, O Vidura, all the progenitors of the universe's population thus executed a sacrifice for thousands of years, for sacrifice is the best way to worship the Supreme Lord, Hari, the person you call it. So we can see how Lord Shiva, by his silent departure, he could remind the assembled sages, progenitors and the demigods about the purpose of their gathering. They forgot the purpose, then counter cursing and all. So even in the absence of Daksha, they continued the sacrifice for 1,000 years. As they realized that sacrifice is the only way to please Lord Hari. So this pastime also teaches an important lesson that when we gather for any service, we should always remember that our ultimate goal of the service is to please Krishna. Even if there are some misunderstandings or difference of opinion between some individuals, even if some people leave, we should see to that we continue the service to completion for the pleasure of Krishna. That's when Bhagavatam 11:7:37, Avadhuta Brahmana says, A sober person, even when harassed by other living beings, should understand that his aggressors are acting helplessly under the control of God. And thus he should never be distracted from the progress on his own path. Thus, this rule I have learned from the earth, from the Bhumi. He says, so much tolerance, right? See the episode of Parishit Maharaj being cursed by the Brahmana boy, Shringi. Sorry. Shamika Rishi glorified the character of Parishit Maharaj, making his son understand what a great personality he had cursed to death. So now accepting that the damage is already done, no? It is irreversible. So Shamika Rishi is trying to find a way out. Prabhupada, he writes the purport 1:1847. The Lord never forgives a person who condemns his pure devotee. Therefore, by cursing a king, the foolish Shringi had committed not only a sin, but also the greatest offense. Because Parikshit was a great pure devotee. And Prabhupada further writes in 1:1848, Rishi Shamika also knew that the Lord does not forgive a person who has committed an offense at the feet of a devotee. See, the Lord can only give direction to take shelter of the devotee. The reason the Lord wants us to take shelter of the same devotee whom we offended. Very nicely understand. The reason why the Lord wants us to take shelter of the same devotee whom we offended is because he wants us to become humble. You might have offended somebody, but you have to go and take forgiveness from the same person so that we can become humble. The cause of our offense is pride and envy toward that devotee. And the only remedy is to become humble by serving that devotee. So Shringi should take shelter of Parikshit Maharaj because he cursed. If this is the case, then why did the Rishi and his son not take shelter of Parikshit Maharaj directly? Why did he pray to the Lord to forgive them? Good question. So Prabhupada gives a beautiful explanation to this question. As he continues his purport, Shamika Rishi thought within himself that if Maharaj Parikshit would counter-curse the boy, he might be saved. See, there is something unusual here. The Rishi is thinking that, Shamika Rishi is thinking that if he takes his son to Parikshit Maharaj, and if Parikshit Maharaj, as a revenge, counter-curse Shringi, then Shringi might be saved. Saved from what? Saved from the dangerous reaction of cursing a pure devotee. But how will he be saved? Because Krishna takes action only when a devotee does not counteract. Very understood point on. See, the moment there is counteraction, then Krishna becomes silent. So when the devotee does not counteract and accepts the curse without reservation, it will become a bigger problem for the offender. Because it angers Krishna beyond limits when an innocent devotee is disturbed. So Shamikarishi is afraid because his son will be, Krishna will punish him now because now so in this case, punishment from the Lord is going to be extremely severe for the offender. So Shamikarishi was hoping that Parikshit Maharaj, being a pure devotee, naturally humble and compassionate, no, if he can counter curse Shringi, then so that the punishment will be minimized for the boy. Because Vaishnavas are naturally merciful and Shringi can escape with a minimal punishment. However, if the punishment is going to be decided by the Lord, he is going to eternally cast him to hell forever. So Shamika Rishi was worried about this situation. So we can see how Shamika Rishi is setting this example of a perfect father and a devotee. See, contrary to the normal dealings, no, he is praying, let my son be counter-cursed and go through the punishment for his mistake. That way he will be saved from hell. That's what Shamika Rishi is thinking. See, our normal way of dealing is that by hook or crook, we should escape the punishment for our sins. Right? This is because we do not realize that even if we escape punishment here, ultimately we have to go through the punishment in hell and suffer for all our sins. In a similar incident, Durvasa Muni, he cursed Amrish Maharaj. And subsequently being chased by Sudarshana Chakra, he ran over all the three worlds to Vaikuntha and prayed to the Lord for shelter. So at that time, the Supreme Lord says a beautiful verse, 9:468. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam tvaham, madanyatena jananti, naham tebhyo managapi. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotees. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. It seems like a Bollywood song, right? Tu mere dil mein main. Like, so Krishna is telling, the pure devotee is always within my core of my heart, and I am always the heart of the pure devotees. So my devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anything else but them. So the Lord says, Sadhavo hridayam mahyam. So the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart. So by this, the Lord indirectly tells Durvasa Muni that by trying to kill my pure devotee, you actually tried to kill me. Because they are in my heart and I am in their heart. So in the same way, here also Shamika Rishi feels that by cursing Parishit Maharaj, Shringi has given extreme pain to the Lord. Such is the gravity of offending a pure devotee, Vaishnava Parad. So he is hoping to find a way to sort out the problem internally with Parishit Maharaj without escalation to the Lord. That's what we mutual, right? However, he did not do so. Why? Srila Prabhupada continues with this purport, 1:1848. Shamika Rishi knew also that a pure devotee is careless about worldly advantages or reverses. As such, the devotees are never inclined to counteract personal defamation, curses, negligence, etc. As far as such things are concerned, in personal affairs, the devotees do not care for them. It was a personal affair, and therefore Shamika Rishi knew that the king would not take counteraction. Personal affair means you hurt my ego and I hurt yours. This is personal affair. You hurt me, I hurt you. It has nothing to do with Krishna. So Shamika Rishi's cold deception hurt Parishit Maharaj. So when Parishit Maharaj entered, he was hungry, thirsty, right? He saw Shamika Rishi meditating. He felt that a cold reception was there. He was not welcoming the king. So Parishit Maharaj returned in kind. It hurt Shingi's ego, his son. And he in turn cursed Parishit Maharaj. So none of these were done with Krishna in their mind. Please understand. Parishit Maharaj putting the snake on and Shingi cursing Parishit Maharaj. So Shamika Rishi is in a fix at this point. He knew that Parishit Maharaj, being an exalted devotee, he will rue his momentary lapse in behavior and will be careful not to repeat the mistake again. So he will not counter curse Shingi even if he was asked to do so. So because he would not take any action, the matter will be escalated to the Lord. He was worried about that. So at this point, there is no other option but to pray to the Lord and ask for forgiveness. Direct. So this is the reason Shamika Rishi prayed to the Lord to forgive his son's offense and not directly to Parishit Maharaj. So Shamika Rishi and Parishit Maharaj is showing an uncommon Bhagavatam way here. Shamika Rishi says, please curse my son for his mistake so that he will be saved from hell. And Parishit Maharaj will say, no, I am an offender already at your lotus feet. I do not want to repeat the mistake again. This is an uncommon exhibition of mutual competition of genius, of genuine humility. Right? Uncommon exhibition of mutual competition of genuine humility, as opposed to our usual dealings where we curse and offend each other. So the important lessons we have to learn from Shamika Rishi and Parikshit Maharaj is that we have to honestly accept our mistake and genuinely accept the punishment without reservation. We should also be very careful in not committing offense against anyone, because everything in the world is part and parcel of Krishna. So hurting anybody is going to hurt Krishna. And then we are in deep trouble. See, in fact, practical example, which I have seen from my own Guru Maharaj, he used to treat even the clothes, water, vessels, pen, diaries, Japamala, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, even a small rubber band. He treats them very gently, that one can feel that he's seeing everything as part and parcel of Krishna. This is the point to understand. Everything, whatever we are using day in, day out, we should not throw the clothes just down or throw here and there. We should hold it and keep it silly. That is gentle behavior. That shows our gentle. Otherwise, it's violence. That is also violence, not the physically hitting and everything. No. All these small clothes, vessels, everything, keeping very quietly and peacefully in a night way, organized way. That is gentle. So it is important to cultivate. See, the word Culture comes from the word cultivate. See, there is a difference between training and culture, right? So it is important to cultivate good qualities within ourselves instead of learning them academically. That is training academically. So that is where the culture plays a vital role. So it is far more important to practice all that we learn rather than repeat them mechanically like a parrot. That's why in the second verse of Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, second verse, word Shushurushubihi. Shushurushubihi is beautifully translated by Srila Prabhupada as by culture. And the translation he wonderfully says, as soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, as soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So this is the culture of knowledge, attentively and submissively. So the knowledge is there in the form of instruction of the Shastras. But unless and until we submissively and attentively hear them, it will not stay in our hearts. Unless they stay in our hearts, we won't be able to practice them. Only when we practice them constantly, they turn into our behavior or nature. So Prabhupada says that shushru shu means one must be anxious to hear the transcendental message. Very nice point. We are anxious. Always anxiety is there. Anxious, this will happen, that will happen. But we should be anxious to hear the transcendental message of Bhagavatam. So the anxiety develops submissiveness and attentiveness in us. That is what Prabhupada refers as culture of knowledge. So seeing our submissiveness and attentiveness, the Supreme Lord gets compactly established in our hearts. Krishna is not after our knowledge. He is the reservoir of knowledge, of all knowledge. What is he going to get from our puny little brain? Krishna is only hungry for our submissiveness and meekness. He wants us to develop that humility and be always anxious to perform devotional service. So the knowledge of astras and mantras may be learnt, but by being judicious about using them is what differentiates a cultured man from a knowledge man. See, both Ashwatthama and Arjuna, they were equally taught the knowledge of Brahmastra by Dronacharya. But Ashwatthama, he released it for the most heinous purpose of killing a child in the womb. See, a child, as it is the most innocent and harmless entity. What to speak of the child within the womb? Even if it likes to, it cannot harm anyone. So shooting Brahmastra to kill such an innocent child is the lowest level of thinking one can go to. And even at that time, Arjuna was waiting for Krishna's order because Ashwatthama already shot the Brahmastra. See, if Arjuna wanted, he could have released the Brahmastra straight away. But he did not do so. Even after Krishna ordered him, he patiently circumambulated him 3 times. Then did Achaman. Only then did he release the Brahmastra to counteract Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. He was not rushing to save himself or the only heir of his family. He was not rushing to save himself or the only heir of his family. Parikshit Maharaj was in the womb because he was 100% convinced that when Krishna is there to protect when Krishna is there to protect someone, nobody can harm that person. He was 100% obedient to Krishna. So this is a perfect example of a cultured man. Just like Ashwatthama acted in a haste, Shringi too wanted to show his prowess to his friends and cursed Parikshit Maharaj very hastily. While he had the power to curse, he did not have the culture to think twice before cursing. Shringi did not have to think about it. He did not have the power to think twice before cursing what will happen to the world and what will happen to the future generation. So Shamika Rishi, due to his age and experience, could realize this, whereas Shringi, he cannot. So thus cultivating devotional qualities is of utmost importance than academic parrot-like learning of Shastras. See, in 11 to 41 Bhagavatam, Kavi, he says, a devotee should not see anything as being separate from the Supreme Personality of God Krishna. Ether, fire, air, water, earth, sun, other luminaries, all living beings, directions, trees and other plants, rivers and oceans. Whatever a devotee experiences, he should consider to be an expansion of Krishna. So thus seeing everything that exists within the creation as the body of the Supreme Lord, or body of the Supreme Lord Hari, the devotee should offer his sincere respects to the entire expansion of the Lord's body. So this is a beautiful verse, which really, in a nutshell, is giving us a solution to all our problems in life. This verse. That is to see Krishna in everyone and in everything. My Guru Maharaj says how in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verses 7.8 to 7.12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 verses, wherein Lord Krishna mentions us 15 places wherein we can see and experience Krishna. That is number one. So I say, he says he is the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, the sound in ether, the ability in man, original fragrance of the earth, the heat in fire, the life of all that lives, the penances of all ascetics, the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, the prowess of all powerful men, the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire, sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, and all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, and ignorance, are manifested by his energy. See, it is sometimes possible for us to see Krishna in fire, air, water, etc. But many a times, it is very difficult to see Krishna in all living beings, especially in unfavorable situations. We fail to see that Krishna as Super Soul is directing that person, allowing that person to say or behave in such a manner to us. So that person is helplessly acting. See, nothing happens in this world without any reason or Krishna's sanction. It is all the result of our past karma, accumulated on millions of births. But since we don't remember all those sins, we simply think that we don't deserve any difficult situation in this lifetime. But Krishna is mercifully giving us the reactions in this birth itself, mercifully, to free us from those past karmas, so that we can become pure and eligible to go back to Godhead. See, the word pranamed ananya in this verse is worth meditating. Pranamed means one should bow down and offer sincere respects. Anaya means thinking nothing to be different from the Lord. But unfortunately, most of the times, we see everything and everyone separate from Krishna. And as a result, we hurt and offend each other, forget the goal of our life, and simply waste time in unnecessary misunderstandings and forget the goal of life. So, goal of life is to remember and chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare. The goal of life is to remember and chant holy name of Krishna and serve him in all times. You can see in Shishtastakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes it very clear for us. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, who does not expect personal horror, yet is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So how can we respect others? How can we respect others? Only when we see Krishna in them. Only when we see Krishna in them, we will stop blaming, hating, counter cursing, and by his mercy gain the strength to tolerate and endure them. So such steadiness of mind is only possible when we constantly take shelter of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras. And thus we will be able to engage nicely in devotional service. See, in the sacrificial arena arranged by Daksha and others, when Daksha insults Shiva, and he also said, I will not give, given share of oblation also will not be given. So Lord Shiva did not react, right? React to Daksha's words. But Daksha started insulting, and Nandi also, the counter cursing, everything started happening, right? So the entire issue was so complicated. Those who were not strong enough, they forgot their position. So the cursing, countering went on in that great assembly. See, Prabhupada says the material field is so unsteady that even personalities like Nandishwara, Daksha, and many other Brahmanas present there, they were infected by the atmosphere of anger. So cursing others does not mean that we are powerful or strong. It only reflects our weak mind. If our mind is strong and intelligence is steady, then we will be able to see Krishna in everyone and unnecessarily won't end up cursing others. See, just like how if the body is weak, we are more prone to infections and diseases. So similarly, when our mind is weak, we easily get infected by anger. That's what happened. In 4:27, Mahendra Muni says, when all the hereditary Brahmanas were thus cursed by the Nandishwara, the sage Bhrigu, as a reaction, condemned the followers of Lord Shiva with this very strong Brahminical curse. So Brahmins' curse are insurmountable. So Prabhupada very nicely says, Bhagavad Gita also says that the curses or benedictions of the middle world are after all material creations. Chaitanya Charitamrita confirms that which is accepted in this middle world to be a benediction and that which is taken to be a curse are both on the same platform because they are material. So to get out of this material contamination, one should take the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as recommended in Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Mamaye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. So the best path is to transcend all material curses and benedictions and take shelter of the Supreme Lord Krishna and remain in transcendental position. See, persons who have taken shelter of Krishna are always peaceful. They are never cursed by anyone, nor do they curse anyone. That is a transcendental position. See, in another case, Daksha curses Narada Muni that he cannot stay in any place for more than few moments. Narada Muni did not counter curse. He was not affected by this curse. He took it as a blessing and traveled all over the universes, glorifying Krishna and giving Krishna to all. See, Daksha's curse does not work in the Lord's abode. So whenever Narada Muni went to see Krishna in Dwaraka, he could spend time with Krishna for many months. But that curse doesn't work there. So, for one who is surrendered to Supreme Lord Krishna, curses and benedictions are not a botheration for them in their service to the dear Lord Sri Krishna. This is the point. So this counter-cursing, cursing, we learned this lesson from Lord Shiva and from so many other personalities from Bhagavatam. So thank you very much, Purus Mataji. We stop here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gopinarit Bhul. Vancha Kalpatarubhya Kripa Sindhuvaya Patidanam Pavani Vishnu. Thank you, everybody. Any questions or anything to share, please go ahead. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Goal of life is to chant Krishna's name. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very
Hare
much
Krishna.
for a wonderful explanation of this particular verse, which is very, very important, as you rightly said. Just a doubt for my own clarification is, when Lord Shiva left the sacrificial arena, knowing that there's no point in staying back, why did his followers continue to be there? Or he did not? I'm sure there is a plan of the Lord. So I'd like to understand what is the plan of the Lord for leaving behind, or Lord Shiva's plan to leave behind his followers, which continued with the curse and counter curse.
Yeah, you're right, Prabhu. This is a good question. See, within my capacity, what I can understand, the Lord Shiva immediately, he did not stay there immediately to react or anything. But Nandishwara, right? See, for example, now our Guru is there and we are disciples. And if a Guru is cursed or something, insulted or something like that, naturally, we saw that point, right? Krishna doesn't like his devotees to be cursed or insulted or blasphemed. So in this case, Nandishwara, he is the greatest disciple of Lord Shiva, right? So he felt very much angered by this insult. He could not tolerate. So he started cursing Daksha, and then naturally this atmosphere became like that. Then Bhrigu Muni also, from the opposite direction, he started cursing. He is a Brahmana. He started cursing. So I think Lord Shiva, he wanted to show that. That's what the point was there in Prabhupada's point. This counter cursing and cursing was happening. When it started immediately, like before Lord Shiva left, it was happening there. So while it was happening, Krishna was not in the center. Nothing there is no interest for spiritual life. They're just shouting here and the opposite. So this he wanted. So Lord Shiva, by telling of something, maybe it might not stop. He says he just left so that his followers also believe. So initially it started, but ultimately everybody, Lord Shiva left, and also Nandishwara, everybody also left from that place. Prabhu. That's what I find. So ultimately, Lord Shiva wanted to tell them that this is of no use, cursing and counter cursing. So that's why he left. Otherwise, if he could have stayed there, then it would have been a bigger problem, bigger fight. So ultimately, what happened? This stopped. Means it was happening, But slowly, when Lord Shiva just left silently, others also left. And then then the sages who were present there was neither Daksha who wanted to do the full yajna. He himself also left. Lord Brahma and other sages, they were all there. So they also did not leave because nobody is there. No, they said this yajna is basically to please Krishna. So for that purpose, we have come here. So they started and they sat and did the 1,000-year yajna for that. So this is the point to understand. I hope it was very useful. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hope. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So
Hare Krishna. Yes, Balaji Prabhu.
the yajna is to please Krishna, which means that
Yes.
is a spirituality, correct?
Yes,
So,
yes.
So there is no spiritual life not involved. Like there is a spirituality involved, no? But that's why they want to do yajna. But
Yeah.
again, they're going for cursing and this one. So there is no meaning for the yajna. Is that right?
No. Meaning, yajna is the ultimate goal of this to offer yajna. It is a yajna to offer things to the Lord, right? To please Him. So that's the purpose they came. But they forgot the purpose in this because of this Daksha's getting egoistic and Lord Shiva not getting up and insulting him and leaving this arena. And then the counter cursing and everything started. And Lord Shiva also is a great Vaishnava. He knew by his staying it will get worse because they will start fighting and all. So he left. So by leaving, the disciples also they will not be seeing more. No, they also left. So the sages and brahmanas who were staying there, they could understand that the yajna should go on. See, if program is arranged, maybe a leader is there everywhere. At that particular moment, he is not there. It doesn't mean that you should know now nobody is there. What can I do? We will stop. You will not stop. It has to go. The main purpose of the program is to do the yajna. That was the ultimate goal for which they have assembled all there. And so they knew about this. So that's why they continued with that. So it is a yajna with the greatest, but it's not against yajna. Because the atmosphere became like that because of the Daksha's bad behavior.
But yajna was going on and it was completed.
Yeah. That is 1,000-year yajna they did afterwards. That is, we see, I think the purpose was that. So yeah, they did that.
1,000 years.
Continued. Yeah, it was completed. Anything else, Prabhu Mataji? Hare Krishna, otherwise we'll stop here.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was a very wonderful, magical session for me, Prabhuji. Please do share the recording. There are so many things to learn, like tolerance, compassion, and see Krishna in it. And it is very true. We feel Krishna, yes, there is Krishna, but whenever it comes to living being and especially in adverse situation, we don't think at that time, okay, there is Krishna in that person also. So there are so many lessons, Prabhuji, from today's class. So please do share the recording also. And thank you so much for this class.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So thank you. I think I am the host and things. Thank you, Uttam Damar Prabhu, Swati Mataji, Shanta Govinda Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Shanta Govinda Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Jyoti Mataji, Nirmala Mataji, Swayam Mataji, Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Take care. Be safe. Stop. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Balaji.